Yeah. First of all, before we take questions, I just want to thank all you guys. You guys have come from all over, some locally, some all over to cover this, and a lot of you guys have seen me on a day-to-day basis, and it means a lot for you guys to cover this part of what I do. It means a lot to not only myself, but to my kids and to this city. So I truly appreciate you guys taking the time out of your days to do this. So, Steph?
Okay. Question?
What was it like to see your mom raise that flag again there?
I think that's it's basically the cherry on top. Just to know that the journey that me and my mom has been on, throughout my 33 years, for it to all come to fruition today, and for her to raise the flag along a street where we struggled a lot when we were growing up. Like I said, I grew up what is called the bottom, but right there in Hickory Street, not too far from here. I used to walk this street. I used to walk north. I used to walk Silver Street, right down the street. I went to Crosby for a few years, so I know everything that goes on around these parts of town. So it means everything.
How would you describe your emotions coming here, driving here, seeing the kids in school for the first time?
It's funny because I was telling Adam when we were driving over here, I remember these streets, and he was asking me, do I need help getting to where we're going? I'm like, Adam, I'm from here. But a lot of emotions definitely, kind of started to repeat in my head, just walking a lot of these streets. And I remember exactly when that McDonald's right there next door first opened. And it was like a Disneyland for us as kids when that McDonald's kind of opened up. I remember that point in time. So, this has always been a part of me.
Right now, when you made your basketball decision, have you had time to look back at what a phenomenal 4 years on that was?
I have not. I mean, you guys know me. I haven't had time to sit back I just made my first statement about what it even means to be be a Laker the other day. I signed I think a month ago. I haven't had really no time to really reflect on anything that I've done in my career. But if I could sit here in 2 seconds and say it was a heck of a run, obviously. My first year when I came here, I didn't believe that we could even compete for a championship, and we took the Warriors to a Game 6 in my first year here, and with losing an all-star point guard and an all-star power forward in the same playoff run, and then being able to come back the following year and then win it and break the I don't want to call it a streak, but the drought, break the drought, the 50-plus year drought that this city had endured throughout the history of sports, and then to add 2 more championship runs to it in 4 years. I think it was it was more than I think we all could imagine. It was my goal. My goal was to come back and to win a championship because I felt like I had something, a book left unturned. But to say that I would have knew we had went to 4 straight finals with all the turnaround that we had, I couldn't imagine that.
So given that, how tough was it to leave again?
It's always tough to make a decision when you have to uproot, no matter if you're doing it by yourself or you're doing it, with your family. And for me especially, it's kind of, and I was talking to a couple of my friends today, it's kind of a bittersweet moment for myself because on one hand, I'm opening up a school, where, I would love to be here every single day with my schedule, obviously permits. And then on the other hand, I'm starting a new journey in my life where I'm on the other coast. But, when you have the support system and you have so many people around you that's helped you along the way, you don't have to ever travel alone. So it makes the transition a lot easier.
Michelle was telling us yesterday about the first conversation that you had with him and the ideas to do with him. Could you sort of talk about what that conversation was like and saying like she didn't expect that to be your reaction, just go do it?
Yeah. We always have these brainstorming, I don't say meetings because that sounds too formal. We kind of have these brainstorming discussions, in our office, yearly. And, a school kind of came up and Michelle kind of looked at me and, with the notion of we're not really ready to do that. But I gave her the command to go do it. And once I told her to go do it, then there's nothing that she can't do. If I tell her to go build a rocket to take us to outer space, Michelle can make that happen. And obviously through the grace of God, obviously won Akron Public School System and the city of Akron, and the infrastructure that we have, and so many people that's helped us along the way, so many different sponsors that helped us along the way. I mean, we sit here today in one of our classrooms, so it's an unbelievable moment.
Why was it important for you for this to be a public school, a non-charter public school?
Well, I mean, I wanted to keep it as consistent with what I went through when I was a kid as possible. I understand, the mental state that goes in with these kids and where they come from, some of the trials and tribulations that they go through. So I wanted to keep it as consistent and as authentic to when I was a kid. I remember being them. Like I said, what I stated in the earlier comment about walking these same streets and having some of the same, pitfalls and, good times and bad times and whatever the case may be.
Michelle said that you expect greatness all the time. How do you see greatness with your kids coming out of this school?
Well, it's up to us as the mentors and everybody in place to help them to get to that point. I think a kid first notion is to be around people and they feel like they care. I mean, that's what kids want to know, that you care about me, and we do here. I mean, so the greatness is going to be up to us. I want to make sure we keep tabs on them every day. Keeping them up to speed, keeping them engaged, and having a lot of fun too. I think learning should be fun as well. We want them to never feel like that they're showing up to work, but they feel like they've shown up to a family reunion. And you get so many great things out of that.
LeBron, you mentioned recently you missed 83 days of school in fourth grade alone. Can you reflect back on what those days were like for you, and what did school mean to you back then versus now?
School didn't mean anything, obviously, back then. I mean, I missed 82 days, and there was just no way I could even attend school. I was going to Harris Elementary, that's on top of North Hill, and I was living on the west side on Moon Street, which is by Lane Field, if anybody know where I played for the South Rangers. And my mom didn't have a car, and we didn't have stability. I didn't, it was day to day where I didn't know where I would be living, so there was no way I could even get there. So, it was a surprise to me when I woke up and I was actually going to school. So I just felt like every day I was waking up and I just had a bunch of time of nothing. I mean, I didn't have any siblings. I had a lot of family members that was going in and out and things of that nature, but it was just a lot of empty days, empty nights, and just kind of a no future thought process. You're just kind of living in the moment. So that's just how it was.
Hey guys, we're gonna do 3 more, so we're not yelling. If you could raise your hand, we'll call on you. Over here.
Thank you. Last year when you were going to open the school, you seemed a little incredulous in that moment.
What does that word mean?
I mean, you were, because I don't want to say you were in disbelief.
Mhm.
You seemed a little, like, really heavy. Was there an event or a moment since then that you finally said, this is happening, I'm opening the school?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, probably about 4 or 5 months ago, we started to see everything come into place and knew that the timing was going to be right on. Michelle continued to update me throughout the season, and everything was just coming into place. And it's weird how timing it just works. And everything started to fall in place. Some of the things that we had to get approved was on time. Some of the things that we wanted to do was on time. This building became available at the right time, and we was able to do some construction, and everything was just falling into place and falling right at the timeline. And that's when we all kind of knew that this was going to happen.
Go here.
Around the shoe wall, on the lobby, on the both sides, and the donation, where did the idea come from? Are you proud of that? And
Yeah, I mean, it was a tough decision at first, just to, when Michelle kind of brought the idea to me that she wanted to have all my shoes. She didn't even give me the reason at first. I was like, you know how I am about my shoes. I'm gonna just give you 114 pair of my shoes, and what are you gonna do with them? And she was like, well, I have a plan. I was like, well, I need to know your plan, or I'm not giving them to you. But I always trust in her, and when she came with the idea and her thought process of what she wanted to do with the shoes, I was like, oh, absolutely. I mean, if you need 200, I'll give you 200 pair of shoes. And she was like, well, we can only really fit like 100 plus. But it's unbelievable for me to actually wear the shoes, for people to actually be able to, be a part of it, get their name above the shoe that they purchase, and then for the proceeds to go to our foundation. It just benefits the kids. Anything that benefits the kids, I'm all for.
Jeff? LeBron, you made your decision so quickly in free agency. How did you come to make it so quick in July 1? And I know that you said before you don't have a lot of patience. What are you expecting year one with the Lakers?
Well, I did my due diligence after the season, and on pros and cons of a lot of different teams, including the Cavs and including Philadelphia, including Houston, and Los Angeles, and so it wasn't as quick as it may seem. It just wasn't as July 9th as it was before. After kind of talking to my family more than anybody, I felt like this was the next journey in my next step in my journey, and what my expectations are for the team. We don't have any right now, but we definitely want to be better than we were the previous year, and we want to have championship. You guys know me. When it comes to championship habits, that doesn't mean you can bring it in a championship, but that means you practice excellence every day, and I expect that from not only myself but from my teammates. That's what Jeannie, that's what Magic, that's what Rob will want, that's what Luka's going to want, and we shouldn't sell ourselves short of that. So, I think there's going to be months where we're really good. There's going to be months where we're not so good, and that's just going to become from just familiarity. We're all new to each other besides Ball, Ingram, Kuz, Hart, Zubek. I believe that's the returning class that's there, and but everybody else is also new to the system. So we will see what happens with that. But as far as us, there's no reason that you become a Laker, you become a Yankee, you become part of Man U, you become part of some franchises and clubs, and you don't think about winning championships or winning, at the highest level. That's just what the history is all about.